Coming to you live from the cradle of motherfucking civilization. It's time for Destiny Down Under.
G'day and welcome to this episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. That's right, I didn't look at what number it was before we started, and who gives a shit, because this week we are joined by none other than the legend himself, Man-at-Arms, and another lesser-known law YouTuber known as Matty Bear.
Look, right? This is like when my mum I answered my phone to my mum on stream one time and it was on speaker and that did not go well either.
Yeah. No, we're good.
Don't fight it.
Don't fight it. Just be the soft man
that's going to stick.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got some stories already. I've got stories from that.
Yeah, no, you need to, and we'll dive into that in a moment. But let's just welcome the man who introduces us every week, straight off the bat. Rick, welcome back. It's been fucking way too long.
It's been way too long.
As much as we do hear your voice every week, how the fuck have you been? More importantly than anyone else, how the fuck are you?
I'm good, considering we're living in a post-apocalyptic society over here in Florida. But other than that, it's fine.
So the post-apocalypse is going fine for you? You happy enough with it?
I mean, it's working out for me. Not so much for other people, but they didn't prepare well. That's fine.
I mean, you're in the thick of it. You're in the thick of it in Florida, right?
It's not so bad for me. I mean,
I've seen how many guns you've got, mate.
Yeah, the wrong house. It's just...
Can we shoot the virus now? Is that what's happening? Or
I mean,
it's frowned upon. I imagine
they're beta testing that. I mean,
when I went to Rick's place, he was showing me his weapons cabinet, his gun safe. He gives me a loaded gun. He goes, "Oh wait, hold on a second. Let's not have Marlon shoot himself." D chambers it, whatever you fucking call it. Goes, there you go. Gives it back.
I did.
So he didn't even trust you to
shot his G. I did the opposite of what the guy who killed his G Fuel on Twitch did. I unloaded the gun first.
Fuck, that was so dumb. Anyway, oh well, holy shit.
Everything's going good. Everything's going really good. It's I'm streaming a lot more because I'm on reduced work hours, but at least I'm working, so that's it's a blessing. And my reduced work hours is like a normal, everyday person's full fucking work week, so I can't really complain.
Right.
So I get to stream about 5-6 times a day, which it's been fun.
5 or 6 times a day.
You've been hanging in Destiny, or you've been doing something else?
I've been playing Destiny. I'm gonna drag Green-Eyed Music Lover into Rainbow Six Siege and expose her to that world in the next few days.
PC or console?
We're gonna do it on console. She's not ready. I'm not ready. I fired it up just to like familiarize myself with it again. I was like, oh shit, I forgot how bad this was. This is gonna be great. We're streaming this live. This is gonna be a disaster.
Siege is one of those games that's hard to get back into, man. It's like Overwatch. It's like, oh, they've got this character. You should pick that guy. Like, you're like, what do you do? Like, I don't know the abilities. I'm just pointing my gun in the general direction. I don't know the angles yet.
It honestly feels like you're playing underwater when you get back into it because you're just so slow. It's like,
oh, really?
Oh, yeah, because your muscle memory is not there because that game is so fast. And apparently you can get Grand Theft Auto free from Epic Games up until the 21st. So I downloaded that just so I can get banned from Twitch at some point. But the atrocities I will commit
on PC, GTA 5 is free.
Yeah, you can go download it right now.
Okay, that's the plot
it's like
thickens.
91 gigs though. So, make
Yeah,
room.
okay.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, no one else can play any other games because Call of Duty's still pumping out updates, basically. Good luck with that. 30 gig update.
Yeah, here you go. Here's a 30 gig update. Fucking, you wanted to play games, did you, mate? Oh, eat shit. Go to bed.
I need a big hard drive.
All right. Well, look, we missed last week's episode because life was just fucking ridiculous at that point. But we're back this week with life that's probably no less ridiculous, but we're fucking charging through anyway. Maddie, how you going, Cobber? It's been a while. What's going on?
Yeah. Dude, like Rick, I've been hitting streaming hard. Like every day, 4 hours, getting up at 5 a.m. Been loving it. And look, we hit 1K. Actually, we hit 930 paid subscriptions on Twitch, and I've got 100 on YouTube. And the goal was 1,000, so we've hit that mark for not a live reading, for a reading of the Grimoire anthology. And as you probably heard, Dan, we're at my parents' place last night. We're gonna probably record in the backyard with an actual fire and set up some. I don't know how I'm going to do I need to work out cameras, and I need to work out microphones. I need to do a couple tests, and I need to show the audio to Nick and make sure it's not garbage. And then it's probably going to take a couple days to record, but if I put the effort in, I think it'll be really nice, really cool.
I believe. I think it'll be a patriotic duty to Australia for you to introduce people to Australian backyards by way of Destiny lore.
We've got the classic, the outdoor setting that everyone has.
Yeah, the green one.
Green and white?
Yeah. I owned it. Yeah, I don't anymore, but I've owned 2 of them in my life.
Like one step up from the white plastic chair?
Yeah. Yeah.
With the glass tabletop? Green and white.
Yep. Back at our old house before me and Rach built this one that we live in now, it was a windy day, but I was setting up for a barbecue in the backyard, and I was putting an umbrella down through the hole in the middle of that exact table. And I put the fucking umbrella down and I jumped under to pull it through the thing that then goes into the big base thing that's full of water to keep it steady. And the wind picked up and fucking twisted it. And I was baptized by shards of Australian barbecue table glass. And after that, it fucking hurt. I had glass in my eyes and everything. It was horrible, but I feel like I've grown from the experience. But that's it. Don't fuck with those tables because they fuck back. Australia.
Australia. Even our tables will fuck you up.
Even our tables.
I'm a better man because of this.
Anyway, I've been doing that. I had a hard time PhDing because I've been having too much fun streaming, but I'm back on track with the PhD. Videos are back on routine. Got a bunch of sponsors. Everything's going well, to be honest. We're back in the groove.
Well, do you want to hear about my week?
Of course. Of course.
So a lot of last week's cancellation was just the fact that my life has just exploded over the last sort of fortnight. So I've got a crook nan, but we're not getting into that because my nan is immortal and unkillable, and she's going to be completely fine. So you don't need to worry yourself about that. I went and saw her this morning. She was more concerned about me going and having a shave than anything that's going on with her and her heart or anything like that. So, but I've been working my ass off with work, and I'm a little bit tired. And on Tuesday night, I picked up my youngest from daycare and got home. Started running her a bath, went and cooked her dinner. She's sitting there eating dinner. I had a pumping headache, so I sat down on the lounge and kind of just, the whole push your fingers into your eyes and make a headache fuck off for a bit. And I woke up half an hour later to half of a flooded house because I had the bath running and it overflowed. So this entire week has been derailed by me kind of like half working and half being at home while fucking tradespeople come through my house. I've had these like fucking enormous like hairdryer things everywhere through the house to try and dry it out. It's been an experience. And like, I mean, it's great if you want to reenact 80s hair metal videos of just like fucking your hair being blown up. Not that I have hair, but I've got girls that do. So we've had a bit of fun with it, but fuck me, man. Holy shit. Life throwing curveballs.
Does it smell like wet dog in your house?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I had
That's good.
a lot of people don't know this. I had dreadlocks for 11 years. At an earlier chapter in my life, probably a regrettable one
So your
in
sense of
hindsight.
smell is completely.
Yeah. So
What did your nan think about the dreadlocks? She would have told you to cut them off every time she fucking saw you, right?
yeah, more or less. Yeah. What are you doing with your hair? You're an idiot. You know, things like that. My nanny is the greatest human of all time. So we'll fucking we'll just take that as fact. And she's always been right too, even when I was being an idiot and she was telling me. So there's that. But yeah, I'm impervious to the smell of wet dog because if you've got dreadlocks and you go in any body of water for 3 days afterwards, you smell like a wet dog. It is the only thing you can smell.
Oh
So
my God.
I'm going to say that my house doesn't smell like wet dog at the moment, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't.
Did you get married with the dreadlocks?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
wait, you've got wedding photos with you with dreadlocks?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not all right. If you're gonna give me shit for Danny releasing my fucking pet name on stream, I don't care if it's this stream or next stream, I need to see a wedding photo of you and Rage with you with dreadlocks. Look at him, he's like, nah, I don't want to do it, but yeah, you fucking do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. All right. I'll do it.
It's
Hey,
fair. I mean,
talking about finales, remind
Yes.
me, we might save it for the end. I don't know. Did you see the beginning of the stream log?
I didn't see the beginning of your stream today. No, I didn't. I missed it. I was with
We
men, so.
we have another chapter in Surf as a God. It was epic. It was absolutely fucking epic. Remind me, we'll give you the full fucking saga at the end.
All right. Okay.
That's a cliffhanger.
Okay. Oh, that's the tease, people. That's the tease. Do you want to hear how Matt's dealing with toxic people in his chat? That's where the drama is on the DD, you fucking oath. All right. Well, what we might do, we might jump into talking about a bit of Destiny, and then we can just spiral off into whatever other fucking madness takes our fancy. That sound fair enough?
it's inevitable.
Yeah! All right, so this week at Bungie has been a contentious one, and it's been a contentious one for a reason that I never thought that I would see people arguing about sunsets in my life. I thought they were universally loved, but it turns out they're not. So, you know, you live and learn these things. We're going to jump straight into talking about sunsetting because it's kind of the big issue going forward. Now, if you've been living under a rock or you don't have Twitter and Reddit and you don't expose yourself to people screeching about garbage 24 hours a day, you may be unaware of what sunsetting is and how it's going to impact your life, right? So basically the deal is this. They will be capping the infusible power level of gear to basically a year. So anything that's older than a year will more or less be, once we hit season 12, capped at that point, and you will not be able to infuse it for use in endgame activity. So it's going to mean that all of those guns that you've been
what does
bitching
it
about,
get capped at? Whatever. I
think it gets capped at that season. So once we hit season 12, it'll remain at season 11's power cap. So it'll be like 50 behind or whatever.
Pinnacle power cap.
No, the power. Yeah, probably. That's the infusible level of it.
Yeah, right.
So it would
Yeah,
be like
okay.
1025 today.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah, 1025 would be its cap
right
today.
Okay.
So really, I don't know. I mean, I'm firmly in the camp of this is something that we desperately need in Destiny because the metas are always fucking stale and Bungie's hands have been tied with respect to what they can do with weapons because they can't make weapons better than the weapons that we've got now that are the good weapons that everyone's using because they would just go forth and continue to break the game. And then if they had to make weapons better than that again to get us to use something else again, you know, like we're just reducing time to kill in the challenge level of all of the content. So sunsetting is a function that's, you know, it's not unique to Destiny. It's in just about every fucking MMO ever. So you don't need to feel like you're being hard done by it. But at the same time, we have seen a lot of people upset. Now, I'll add this. This is my little caveat to me laughing at people who are upset about sunsetting. I haven't made up my mind how I feel about it affecting Army yet. I don't know whether I'm keen or not because that will enormously depend on how much they change the economy for things like enhancement cores and whatever. So if you can easily upgrade new armor, fine. But if you can't, it's going to be an absolute punish. So I hope that they're considering that. Boys, how do you feel about sunsetting? I can't. This
Look
like
at Rick's little fucking. Look at Rick's little smirk on his face. Look at him.
It sounds like it sounds like a fucking support group. How do you guys feel about sunsets?
Tell us, Rick.
This is like a retirement home conversation if you don't know the
context.
It is.
I don't like sunsets because I might die through the night. Well, anyway, that went to a dark place.
I
Moving
understand
on.
why people are upset about the armor because it is ungodly expensive to level up and masterwork a piece of armor, and it has been, and we have not complained enough. And the sources to get your golf balls that you need to finally get to masterwork, you can get them from grinding the highest level of Nightfall, and the seasonal pass will give you 3. And then you're done. Which that is.
It's not enough.
It shouldn't be that hard. It should not be that hard to masterwork your armor. It should be a little bit of a grind. It should be a personal investment. But
surely they're going to change that if they're going to get rid of armor. I imagine they're going to change that.
If they change it, I'm fine. If it stays the same, it's people have a right to be upset about it, and they should voice their opinions about it because it's not right, it's not fair, and I want a refund because God damn it, I can go sell my old PlayStation 3 right now, at least get some money for it at a pawn shop. I mean, give me something for it.
I mean,
it has an intrinsic value.
You do raise a valid point that if you could, if you turned in a piece of fully masterworked armor and you got that enhancement core back, it kind of would solve the problem, right?
Right, because you're just moving it from one to another.
Yeah,
it's not like you're generating resources out of the air. It's what you've already. It's your investment, which I think is fair and that could work. Are they going to do that? We don't know. Weapons, I get that some people that their favorite gun is going to inevitably get retired. It's not new. My favorite gun in D1 I had a sniper rifle called Her Benevolence. It was like 160 power level cap. I used it until the last day of D1. I didn't use it in a raid.
Yeah, because this is the thing. It's not like it's going away forever. It's just the infusion level. It's like it's going to impact trials, which is, I think, fine. Because that's really going to open the gate for people coming into Destiny to not be like, oh, cool, Mountaintop, I don't have that. Oh, cool, Revoker, I don't have that. Oh, cool, Recluse, I don't have that. And actually play a season and hopefully be competitive. So it's only going to impact trials, raids, and Pinnacle Nightfalls, right?
Yep.
Iron Banner.
And Iron Banner.
And Iron Banner.
Which, who cares?
Yeah, just, I don't know. I mean, look, if you've spent weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks grinding out one activity to get your god roll spare rats or whatever, I understand that hearing that it's just going to be more or less made redundant in pinnacle level activities is upsetting. But at the same time, every time you go into the Crucible and you get fucking domed by a Revoker and you go, that's cheesy as shit, fuck that guy. You don't have to fucking have that conversation anymore. We just get to move on, and that's a fucking good thing, right? Like, the benefits outweigh the negatives. Yeah, there's negatives. We all get it, but we don't need to be super upset about it. It's fine. It's fine. There's always going to be something new come up, and it gives us the opportunity to, look at last season's weapons, right? Season of the Worthy. Was that last season's weapons? No, Season of Dawn. There's some incredible guns in there. And even the shotgun and that from this season, they're good, but they don't really find a place because there's already the perpetual fucking weapon that everyone wants in the slot. So it just gives another opportunity.
And I also think that the weapons from this season were slept on and not really explored that well with the Warmind cells and the season specific perks. I don't think really got an incredible amount of love because people firstly weren't really doing the public events, weren't doing the new events, and secondly, I'm hoping. Oh, that's another story. But I'm hoping that they continue that idea that came with. Well, I mean, it's been around, but like the Warmind cells. I thought that was a cool weapon perks to have on guns. It was nice to find those kind of combos, and I don't think it got much attention really.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the season
No,
before too.
right.
The in charged with light mechanics and all of that. They kind of just get moved over because it's like people know that they're not around for forever. They're sort of temporary things, and they're kind of more useful in PvE than anything else, really. So, what's the point in really getting into it? I hope that once everything becomes that little bit more transient, in terms of nothing is permanent, that these things start to be looked at. Okay, well, this is going to be in the game for the next year. This is in the ecosystem for the next year of the game. Okay, we need to pay it a little bit more attention than just going, oh, well, it's a gimmick. Fuck it off. Oh,
But
I
here's the
want that to
thing,
be-
right? Here's a good thing about it. Well, here's a like, this needs to happen, otherwise it won't work. It's like you can't be grinding for the same weapon with the same rolls, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no point in just taking away the weapon and then you having to grind for the same stuff.
Yeah, that's shitty. that would feel garbage, hey? Like if they just raise the light level, capped your guns, and then you're looking for the same weapon again. So I think the way they're
They
going
have to bring in new perks, surely.
yeah, they're going to have to bring in new perks, and they're going to have to bring in guns that people want to use, right? Like
And play with the archetypes.
there is a negative here in that, like, if they don't bring out enough variety through the space of that kind of year rolling fucking period,
Yeah.
we're going to pretty quickly form metas anyway. So, and that's fine. Like, that's Destiny. We always will do that. There's always going to be that one or two guns or whatever. But they're going to need to be finding ways to keep the loot pool fresh as well as this. You know, there's going to need to be enough weapons coming out that we can get in and find something that, no matter your play style, you find something that's appropriate. Like, I saw Paul Tuzzy talking this morning that, like, come this sunsetting idea, there's going to be 2 bows or 3 bows that are viable, the exotics and the Iron Banner one. That's it. So what happens there? Are they going to say, well, we're reintroducing 2 of them into the loot pool for the current season, much the same way that we're seeing Dire Promise and shit pop up now? Is it going to work that way? I don't think that's the worst way of it, because then they can kind of like table the entire loot pool and say, well, you know, we're going to have these weapons come back. We're lacking in this option. We can bring a few back from the past or whatever. But dude, it'll be a challenging time. But I think ultimately it's positive.
There's heaps of things that can be flat out deleted from the weapon pool. And like the Alatha, I said it this morning, the Alatha 4 fusion rifle that I've gotten 9 million of since the beta. Nobody wants that. Nobody's using that.
It's just fucking
Not one person.
Edge transits.
I'm still using that. You go to hell.
Yeah, I know
I
you
use
are.
it just I use it just to trigger people, though. I was like, I was killed by an edge transit, but that's a whole other conversation. But
Yeah,
there's a
we can
lot of
circle back to
weapons that they can truly make go away. There's a lot of weapon designs in the blue pool that look really nice. They don't look like reskins of the stuff we've been getting, that they could convert those into new weapons. And that's just what I'm saying, is you could take away weapons and bring in new weapons. That's what we want. That's what we always.
Yeah.
This whole game is about guns. We want new stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's
going
going to come down to that, Ryan.
Bring in new. Remember the old Iron Banner weapons from D1 that had all the crazy spikes and like they made no sense. They all had like a 3-meter pole sticking out of the front of them.
Yeah,
for some
yeah,
reason, but
yeah.
They looked really cool. I want that stuff to come back. And if they're introducing that and it's a good gun, then people aren't going to care that you're making old guns irrelevant.
I think, yeah, dude, you're raising a very valid
It's going
point
to
in
depend
this.
on what guns they introduce.
Yeah, well, it's going to
100%
depend on the
gonna be
guns that they introduce and how, like, you know, like Destiny has
Similar.
always suffered that huge content redundancy issue of like all of the white armor, all of the blue armor, all of the green armor is just fucking, the second you blow through and you're in the end game, you're down to, you know, like a quarter of the loot pool, if that, you know, like, I mean, it probably blows out to be bigger than that, but I don't understand. Like, I hope that with transmog coming, that these are things that are considered not just for armor, but for weapons as well. And I reckon you're right, Rick, in that if they go, okay, well, cool, maybe you give it a new name and change the fucking color of it, but make it a legendary and make it something I can carry in and something that's fresh and something that's new. I would be in support of that. I mean, you're always going to get people, it's recycled content. Yeah. But at this point, I don't care as long as it's like presented in a new way. That's fine. Like, I'm happy with that.
I mean, it's a recycled resource, but it's like, okay, I have a Ferrari in my garage under a cover that I have not looked at in 4 years. Hey, here's a Ferrari. I will drive this Ferrari. I'm okay with it. I don't care that it's 4 years old and untouched. But I mean, like I mean, I'll challenge the audience. Go look through your collections at your blue loot in your collections. Go look at the guns and look at some of the armor that you have. Some of it's fucking amazing looking, and they're in good archetypes, and it's a useless resource. It's just sitting there. So, like we were saying, bring that forward. And you haven't even made anything yet. Please make new stuff. We want you to make new stuff too. Bungie, don't get me wrong. We want new stuff as well. But here's an idea to help out. I mean, just throwing that out there.
just throwing it out there, Rick.
Do you think exotics will just always be the meta?
I think we run the risk of that. I think they're going to need to be really mindful of that. I feel like now, if all of the, I mean, we've kind of come at a good time in that, you know, you've got the summoner and things like that are really pushing that auto rifle like meta now that are legendaries. But, you know, only 3 weeks ago, by far and away, hard light was the go-to. So I think they're gonna need to be careful, and if they can act as quickly as they acted with hard light to rein them in, if something is clearly, like, if it is just by the balance of the content of what the current like viable weapon pool is, if something's way out of whack, then I'd hope that they could bring that in. But ultimately, I hope that this will lead to less nerfs in the long run too, because, you know, maybe if something's sort of only pronounced for 1/4 of that time period just because of the way the loot pool has fallen, then fine, you know. Or maybe it's a matter of something as simple as, oh, okay, well, you know, this exotic's well out of whack. That means next season we can bring back this returning weapon and say, well, hey, here's another option. And maybe they can adjust the perks that it can drop with. Maybe they can look at that, things like that too. So, I mean, the devil is going to be in the detail with this. I understand people being initially upset and not wanting to have to kiss their gear goodbye. You don't have to. You get to keep it anyway. It's going to live on. But yeah, there's still a lot of water to go under this bridge. And there's going to be a need for the economy to be seriously tamped down on. And that is, I'll say this, historically, if you think back to Season of Gambit or whatever the fuck that was called, it was like starvation, man. You could not do up gear quickly enough. There was not enough sources for this stuff. So as long as they're on top of that, I support it. If they're not, then I'm going to join the Seas of Rees, my dudes.
The Seas of Rees. Did anything else happen in the TWAB?
Well, we had Luke's max power. Well, the other thing that we had this week, we'll jump to this. This was an issue that popped up that was addressed really quite quickly within the space of 24 hours, I think, was the fact that there's a new quest, The Lie, for, you know, ultimately for a very particularly nasty shotgun that most people will instantly get Vietnam-style flashbacks just hearing the name said out loud. So I will not do you the disservice of doing it now. But
the best sniper rifle in Destiny 1.
Yeah, Destiny 1's greatest sniper rifle. But it launched with a quest that was well out of whack in scope. So the basically what it was completing the seasonal public event, throwing balls at the balls, as you know, our man Rick would describe it. And it kind of released, and everyone universally kind of went, nah. Nah.
I mean, I think there were lots of, I think the idea was okay. I think there were lots of elements that went wrong. One of those elements was there's no matchmaking, and it's public events, and it's at the end of the season, and people are not really playing that activity anymore, and you don't really get decent rewards from the public from doing the Seraph Towers. As far as I don't know. Have people been grinding Seraph Towers to get the Seraph weapons?
Man, I've done maybe 10 in the entire season, and that's it. That's probably a stretch. You've done heaps. Did you
So-
get out of it?
I've done heaps. The shotgun, and it doesn't make any sense. There is the shotgun. If you get the quick draw snapshot one,
Yeah, that's nasty.
it just deletes people, and it doesn't make sense. It's like this gun
Okay.
shouldn't. You look at the math, and it's like this defies all science because you actually hook up the same shotgun with better perks, and it doesn't work as well. It's like this is glitched. Let's roll with it. It's fine. That happens in Destiny. It's happened in D1. It's happening now. And then
Anyway,
the hand cannon was pretty good.
I don't think the rewards were quite there this season for doing the actual seasonal event, as in the Seraph Towers and the Seraph Bunker. I didn't feel like there was any buzz around grinding that
Yeah.
event for the rewards.
Not even when you just look back to last season when we had the sundial, right? Like the sundial it felt like a more tangible thing. Like you could go, you could load in, you could take your mates, we're going to do this,
Right.
cool. And it was you defined in scope and all that sort of thing, and it didn't rely on the matchmaking at all. Where if you go into a public space now trying to complete one of these, you're at the mercy of who's around, right? And I think that's ultimately where this has fallen down. It's just the population's so sparse, and maybe the net coding of it all is finally caught up with that idea and ultimately killed it, because it's always been hard. Like they've always been really difficult because people either don't know what they're doing with them or there's just not enough people there. So I don't know. I don't think they changed anything in the way that these spaces were loaded into that increased the amount of players that were in the area. And that's kind of what has bit it.
I like the thinking around, because I think, I don't know, this is what I assumed the intention was. The world's changing. They actually made changes to the world space with Seraph bunkers and towers coming out of them and like defensive structures. And that was cool. I think that's really good for immersion, but it fell down because no one was doing them. And so I think it's a nice test for them now to see something like Sundial and Menagerie, which are like bubbles of content versus integration into the world. And there's obviously like an issue there with putting people together to do an event together. I mean, obviously Seraph Towers 2 is not as developed, I guess, as a Menagerie was, or as in the Sundial was in regards to what you're actually doing. So there's that plays into it too, is it's probably on the more simplistic side of this sort of scale of Destiny activities. And then there was issues getting people to play it. So, and all these came together for then do 9 million of them.
And everyone went collectively. Like, and I don't know anyone who felt like the opposite way to this. And this is weird because I've asked a lot of people about it. I thought I don't want to jump into the podcast half-cocked and say that no one wanted to do it. But I'm yet to bump into someone who saw that quest and went, yes, let's go and do these things. Everyone kind of just went, oh, really? Like that was it. Most people were like, nah, I'm not doing it. So for mine, I think, I think that there's a lot they can learn out of it. I think in that context, like it was kind of like death by bounties all season. And then to go back to a public event, it just felt like meh. No one wanted to do it. Rick?
What I was going to say is to put everything in perspective, the Guardian games fell very flat in the community.
Yeah.
A lot of people, including me, behaved really poorly. So we were already at this emotional low. And like I told the story, I was like, I was really glad that it was ending several days before. It's like, I just want this to be over with. It's fine. Let's move on. And the first thing you read when you open it is this. And it was just kind of like, oh God, no. It was like you went from, I felt like I can't, this is a low point in the Destiny community. We can't get any lower. Wait, I've just been kicked in the ribs.
Yeah, it did feel like
So
that.
it all kind of, it kind of culminated, but one thing with when they do these activities, the things that break, like when Menagerie was not working correctly, that's when it was the most fun, because it was just dropping this heaps and heaps of loot.
Yeah.
And then one of the Nightfalls a couple of weeks ago, which I never played Nightfalls, it was dropping a stupid amount of loot. It was bugged. And
that's right.
Everybody on YouTube says this is bugged. I did it for like 2 hours and got 5 exotics. And I'm like, this is great. This is amazing. We patched this. Oh.
I mean, I'm hoping, but going
There's
forward,
a
I'm hoping going
balance.
forward that things like that, they can go, well, we can make things like that now because the weapons aren't going to be there for forever. So it doesn't matter if you've got a more accessible way of farming a god roll fucking waking vigil or whatever, like you were doing in the menagerie, because ultimately we don't have to live with the consequences of that being in the loot pool for fucking ever. You know, things can
This
be
was
a
the
little bit more
punishment for our
broken.
behavior during Guardian games.
But I mean, just touching on Guardian games before we move on, Titans won. We all know that. But have you seen the statue?
The little podium,
It's
It
the
looks-
statue we deserved.
Oh man, it's the statue you deserve if you're competing in an unimpressive flaccid penis contest. Like, surely they could have done better than that. It's just weak. I hope they don't bring it
It
back.
was such a
Guardian games
mockery.
can just go.
They should have just took the pedestal and instead of the design, like Zavala got a aluminum trash bin and paints it white and not very well, and just put like the model on top, and that should have been the trophy, and then we could have had a laugh. But I don't like
Yeah.
the bungee, so it's fine. And here's your trophy. And here's your trophy.
People in chat.
That's a
There's
trash
a
bin.
statue. Yeah, there is a statue.
Not really.
Yeah,
It's
it
more-
kind of.
Considering like
It actually does look
considering
like a
end
dustbin.
table.
It looks like a dustbin you might see in a fucking shopping center or something.
considering everything has always been in that center spot where you had the stonks and then you had the Guardian Games
Yeah.
deposit, and then why not just blow it up 100 times, put a giant statue in the middle with the golden lion or whatever? I don't get it. I don't
Yeah.
get the nightstand behind Zavala.
It's almost like the people in charge of implementing that statue were all either warlocks or hunters, and they were like, "We said our statue. We didn't say it was going to be a good one. You fucking cunts." So we end up with this shit little statue in the corner of just like, "Fucking, there's your statue, you fuckwits." Fucking cheers. It literally does look like a bin now that I think about it. It looks like Zavala's ashtray.
That's
Oh.
even better.
Yeah,
Guardian
man.
Games, Seraph Towers, sun setting.
Sun setting. That's it. We're just about through all of the choice parts of it.
Oh, and the liar. The liar.
The lie. Is there? You got any lore out of that?
What did I get any law?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's bit. I don't know if people want me to say it. We have to save that to the end too, because it probably is. It is spoiler territory for sure.
Oh, we'll just
A wee
not,
bit.
we'll just not do it.
Well, no. Here's the thing: you can read it on Ishtar Collective, but you can't start earning the in-game lore. So it's a bit of a funny spot. But I think, to be honest, by the time I release my video, I think people will start being able to get it in-game as well. So I believe it'll be unlocked when you get Felwinter's Lie.
Yeah, right. The big book.
It'll be like Thorn. Be like getting kills with Thorn gave you the.
Oh,
lore
right.
book.
Okay. I always thought that was a cool model of kind of rolling out that story. You know, like I thought, yeah, okay, cool. That's cool. I can do that. But it does mean that we're going to just see an absolute fucking scourge of that particular weapon. Just in the Crucible. It's going to get ugly, really quick.
Oh, yeah.
And if it is even
I
a
mean, day
fucking
one.
shade on its former self, it is going to be fucked.
and just add Antius wards to that now. Yeah, I know you're a
I mean,
Titan, and you're a Titan, and you fucking don't even want to see that.
No, I don't. I don't use them. I can't. I've been on the wrong end of it so many times that I'm like, I can't contribute this shit back into the community. I know Rick
I've
doesn't
used
give a
them
fuck.
to make the problem worse.
You've used
I
them.
figured the more often I use them, like more people will get angry and more people will scream to have this fixed. So I'm doing you a favor by killing you with this thing.
It's an
That
interesting
is-
way to think about it.
That is a unique perspective that I think most people would not hold, but I respect you for it. I think it's great. I think it's you're contributing.
It is
to the
the
community.
ultimate anti-cheat. I will say this, this is only a PC problem, but if you get a guy that aimbots and he basically like a 0.78 KD guy and he paid $35 to get an aimbot, you can just slide around the corner and ruin his day. It happens all the time. And then Matt Grundy shoots him in the face with Bastion, but that's a whole other story.
Man, Bastion's really come up over the last few weeks too. I didn't see that coming. Is that a direct
It's a-
byproduct of the wards or what?
No, it's just rude.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, legitimately, it's just a bit rude. It's not broke. It's not what do you call it? The fusion rifle whose name we shall not speak. I can't remember it honestly. I never used it.
Oh,
The
the
one
Aaron
that could
seal.
cross map you.
The
Yeah,
Aaron
it's
seal.
not
Yeah.
quite. It's not quite that bad, but
Yep.
it's a bit rude.
Well, there you go. All right, Matty, what do we got coming down the law pipes for the people this weekend? What's going on?
Hold on. Do you want to hear Surfers of God?
Yeah, I do actually. I really do because Surfers of God, I'm pretty sure is actually in the stream right now, so you can tell him to his face.
No. I hope you haven't banned him.
No, I haven't. No,
Oh,
yeah.
good. Oh, good. He's here.
Is this a redemption story?
It's a redemption story.
I love a good fucking redemption arc. All right, okay.
Surfers of God, 96, right? I had the bungee bounty. Well, whenever that was, 4th of May. That's right, 4th of May. Bungee bounty 2 weeks ago now. And anyone who's done the bungee bounty knows it gets pretty intense in the chat. And me and Log have the same mindset to controlling a large chat of people we don't maybe not know. And whoever takes the first swing is like the pub. Whoever the biggest fucker is, whoever takes the first swing, just KO that dude instantly. And then hopefully everything will be downhill. So to give him credit, I've watched the clip again. He didn't even say something that bad. I think he said, "Are you brain dead?" And I just started swinging, right? So I went into this little skit about Servers of God's like Twitch tag name and how he got it from his mum and all this kind of stuff.
It was pretty mild, really. You gave him it was probably a equally powerful backhander, right?
Yeah. It was another backhand. But the real kicker is when you do that on streams, then you ban them. So then they can't. Then it's like the equivalent of the security guard kicking them out of the pub after you've just clonked them on the head, so they can't get revenge, right? So he gets thrown out of the pub, and then obviously all of chat just fucking jumped on, just piled on, like everyone piled on. And one guy committed to the meme hard, like Wizard James. I think he's here as well. The only thing you can check his messages, the only thing he ever said was "Service of God" to every answer. I did a law quiz. Who is Crota's? What's the name of Crota's sword? Service of God. Who is the name of Service of God? Check the message history. There's like hundreds of messages. Bloody Service of God. Anyway, so it became a bit of a meme. I'm streaming this morning. And I said, you know what? Because last night I was with my parents. I know this is a long-winded story. I see people fading, but just stay with me, okay?
That's fine. No, it's good.
I was with my parents, and I was, trying to get my parents proud of me for being a content creator. They're always great stories to talk about. And I told this story. Mum's like, "No, that's mean, Matt. Don't do that." I was like, "Mum." I was like, "Mum, you've always," because my mum, she's a fighter. She, not literally, but metaphorically, she's like always taught me, don't be a victim, but don't be a bully, right? If someone starts throwing, you can throw back. And that was always my advice in high school, anywhere. Don't you be a victim, but don't be a bully, right? I said, "Mum, but you told me that." And she's like, "Yeah, okay, I guess I did." But then I started thinking, I started feeling bad. And so in the stream this morning, we had a clan member of Service of God. He was in the stream. I said, "Does anyone know him? Let's bury the hatchet." They said, "Yeah, I know him." I was like, "All right, we're going to clap him back in." So I brought up a bunch of emotes, basically clap emo and like some head banging, and I put on Doom and we fucking clapped him back into the chat, and then I unbanned him and he came in. Let's go. Doesn't end there, right? I said, "Listen here, you little shit. Listen here. Let's bury the hatchet, right? Let's bury the hatchet. This is the equivalent of, the two guys in the pub and they knock each other's head in, and then they're like, 'Oh yeah, good fight, mate. Yeah, good fight.' And they fucking like hug it out afterwards, and somehow they're friends again."
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, we did that. All right. I was like, just behave yourself. Next minute, 1v1 me, pussy. So I was like, right, right, let's do this, okay? Let's freaking do this. I was like, we need to make a bet. Something needs to be on the line. So he's like, so his clanmate goes, I'll kick him from my clan if you win. I'll kick him out of the clan. I was like, okay, well, if you win, what do I do? And there was talk of modding him. I was like, I can't do that. I need a bit more trust before I fucking mod you. But I agreed to host his channel 3 times after a mod game stream.
Okay. Yeah.
If he won, right?
Yep.
Of course, Surfer's not just a god at surfing. He's also a god at PvP, apparently.
Oh no.
So I got fucking stomped. So then I have to host his channel, right? That's now in my contract. But then he's like, trials carries. I'm like, well, fucking why not, mate? So we got him into Discord, had a lovely chat. We got 4 wins, something like that in trials. Had some good matches. Redemption story.
There we go.
Complete.
So we can change it now to Surfer's a good bloke, not the god. Surfer's a good bloke. There we go.
Yeah.
Good on you, mate. That's the way to come back from it. That's how you do it. That's it.
So that's the saga of Surface of God. It was put to rest, and I just think, sometimes it's hard to trust the internet, but just
I don't know, man. The whole Bungie bounty thing for me was just like, it's kind of that you're just dealing with largely younger people, right, than yourself. And there's one thing that younger people hate, and it's being fucking told what to do, right? Like that whole, don't do this or you're out. And then they go, well, fuck you. I'm out anyway. I'm just going to do it. So I think to go like, just don't be a dick to each other and not have, not get too fucking angry about it. I don't know. Mine went really well. I was stoked and everyone turned up and, there was a few dickheads and whatever and that's it. But that's the nature of the beast, right? Like, but, Maddie's, yours was a standout for mine. It was it was just an exercise in personality over content, I think.
There's a lot of shit I need to get out. I need to download that stream before it becomes inactive, to be honest.
Yeah, you need to get it. I
keep telling chat, like, when I've got dementia and I'm on my deathbed, I'll get Danny, lean closer. Have I told you about that Bungie bounty stream I did in fucking 2020?
It'll be the one thing seared into your failing brain. I don't know.
2020.
And then I also got some lore for you guys, but this will definitely be in spoiler territory.
All right,
we need to give a spoiler.
So this is
warning.
just to be clear, this isn't data mine shit. It's up on Ishtar, which means it's in the open API, but it's you can't actually jump into game and get it yet, is what we think.
You can't get it in game yet. You can go read it on Ishtar. It's in the API. It's not data mined, essentially, depending on how you consider that. Typically, we don't have this relationship as well, but we're going to work on talking a bit more with narrative. Usually, narrative can give their opinions to Baxter from Ishtar, and then Baxter can make a decision if it goes up on Ishtar Collective for people to read, and if it doesn't, and there's a little bit of communication. We lost a lot of our contacts in narrative previously, so we're sort of trying to rebuild them and go from there. So I don't know how they feel about us talking about it, but we are going into territory that I don't know if something will happen in game. I don't know if it's just going to be a cool lore book. I don't know yet until we get Felwinter's Lie and complete the quest. Don't know. I might spoil something for you. I might not. I'm not too sure. So make a decision if you want to hang around. But it is the story of Felwinter. Basically, Felwinter's Lie is finally been revealed. What is he lying? What is he hiding? Who is he? All that kind of stuff that we've been asking since the beginning of Destiny, right? Now, I've had a bit to drink this morning. It's only 10 o'clock, so I've got to work out.
What? What? You've had a bit to drink this morning.
Oh, it was... It's quarantine, man.
Yeah, look,
I mean, time is a construct. It doesn't matter.
I'm concerned.
Right. Hey, what time is it for you, Rick?
10:49
PM.
At night time?
Yes.
Oh, well, we're in the clear then.
Hey, it's fine. It's like Guardian Con all over again, baby.
All right. Anyway,
I'm worried about you.
Felwinter.
Holy shit.
He's rezzed, he's revived in a giant library, right?
Yep.
And we're like, what the hell's going on here? Meets his ghost. He gets given the name Felwinter. The library's bombarded by what's called falling stars. Turns out Rasputin's after him. Rasputin's literally dropping war sats on his head and continues to track him. I know. He dies multiple times and he's actually seriously wounded by one of them. His ghost literally asks him to kill himself to help the process go along a little bit easier, which he does.
Struth. Okay.
Yes, we'll tell people when it's safe who are taking the earbuds out, no problem. Right. So that happens. He ends up then taking out a whole bunch of frames, essentially, from Rasputin. Once again, this is when they sort of work out that Rasputin's after them. They scan the frames like, yeah, this is Rasputin's bodyguards, basically, tracking us down. Then they introduce the origin story of Felwinter's Peak. So eventually they decide, rather than being on the run all the time, rather than Frodo and Sam running from the all-seeing eye of Sauron, they basically settle up on Felwinter's Peak and they dig in. It is at that point that he inherits the local village and sort of gets a bit of a conscience about being a guardian. And so this is where some of his obsession about tracking down Siva comes from, because he's sort of like, they must have had some crazy shit during the Golden Age. I reckon we can rebuild humanity like this. Let's find Siva. So he's tucked up in Felwinter Peak. He sort of feels sorry for people who aren't guardians. Now he's trying to track down Siva. Eventually they stumble upon a Seraph bunker. And when Felwinter goes near the control panels, they automatically light up and activate. And the ghost is like, how are you doing that? He's like, I don't know. Fast forward a little bit. Go forward a little bit more. We get a flashback. From Rasputin. And it's written the same as the Destiny 1 Grimoire cards with Rasputin. It's a series of protocols and actions, right? And what happens from that is they enact this, what's the protocol called? It's another word for Buddha, and it's like Buddha Golem, but it sounds cooler than that. Whatever this other, I can't remember. Chat will know. Chat will know what the word is.
Oh, Buddha Golem is just a crushing indictment on the two hosts of this podcast.
Buddha Golem. Sid, thank you, chat. Siddhartha Golem, right? Okay. And then it leaves a bunch of quotes, and one of the quotes is, "Experience is the best teacher," and there's another quote from a poet that is about reflecting on yourself, introspective reflection and emotion. Yep. And the lines that come with it is that Rasputin wants to double check his morality integrity.
Yep.
When you break down what those two words mean with the whole Buddha stuff about a spiritual journey and the golem being an artificial life that is inherited some sentience as a golem, we get very close to working out that what Rasputin was trying to do was to live through an exo to experience life as close to being human as possible so he could check his morality system.
Okay, yeah.
So it was a protocol of uploading himself, so to speak, to an exo to then live in the human world, essentially. And of course, the finale reveals that person was Felwinter, or that exo was Felwinter. And he had gone rogue for some reason, and that's why Rasputin's trying to track him down. So technically, Felwinter should have had a whole bunch of knowledge, which is why he woke up in a library, which could have been the Deepstone Crypt, because the initial protocol was uploading at Deepstone Crypt. But like I sort of speculated, Felwinter's sort of a clone of Rasputin. It's probably
in an exo body.
Very layman summary, basically.
But if he died and got brought back as a guardian, that would have made him an entirely different person.
Yes, he didn't remember anything. So it doesn't really explain. Actually, good fucking point, Rick, right? this is
Anyway, thanks for coming.
this is maybe why there's a part in the book where there's a section of the exo brain that the ghost can't access, right? And I thought it was really odd that they introduced that, and maybe the reason why they introduced that is that's where a lot of this information is going to be contained, even though Felwinter couldn't remember it. Maybe that's the reason why Rasputin was tracking him down, is because he still had that processor, that knowledge he tucked away, despite being Guardian.
That's rad. But I mean, that's also an implication for people like Cade too, right? Like that he had who he once was sort of buried away in his mind. But I mean, obviously not to the significance of having fucking bits of Rasputin embedded in you.
Yeah.
Man.
So I don't think Felwinter was human like most other exos. I don't think he was firstly human. I think he was just a shell. He could have just been an exo shell given to Rasputin.
And then sort of... So do you take it that he basically went rogue because he no longer wanted to serve the purpose for Rasputin? Is that like...
Don't know.
There's a lot in...
He went rogue and basically was revived as a Guardian. I have to check the order of events. I don't know if he was rogue because he got revived as a Guardian or if he went rogue prior to being Guardian. I sort of have to check that. But that could explain why Rasputin's after him if he went rogue first somehow.
I mean, the other, I guess, possibility is that he serves Rasputin's purpose out, and Rasputin goes, "Well, you're no longer of use." Fucking kills him, and then he's like, "Well," then revived, knows that Rasputin's a bad guy, despite also being Rasputin. That's fucking confusing. I'd probably run away from that too. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit! It'd be
This is
interesting
like
to see
a
how
Bible
this pans
story.
out. Isn't it ever?
Yeah, I thought very Lord of the Rings, to be honest. I was like, this is because it's just they're constantly just on the run. They're just running the whole time from the all-seeing eye of Rasputin.
No, Felwinter is properly dead though. He died in the Saga thing.
So the book ends right before the events of Rise of Iron.
Okay.
So it ends with him joining the Iron Lords and talking about going to the Siva Replication Complex, Site 6. And we know that we find Felwinter's body in the Siva Replication Complex. He's one of the bosses, right?
Does that mean that Siva had access to this shit that Rasputin put in him?
Oh, good one.
Does that mean we're going to get
Rasputin controlled Siva at that point. It's more about who controls Siva.
Oh, okay. Right, so Rasputin ultimately won because he got it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the circle is complete.
At what point did he develop this fucking disgusting shotgun? And was that in some way tied to Rasputin? Because I was pretty staunch on I'm going to be on side Rasputin if it all goes to shit. I may change my mind based on that.
No. It was pretty funny though. There's a really funny scene in there where you think, oh my God, we're going to get the epic tale of how Felwinter claimed Felwinter Peak because there was a previous warlord there.
Yep.
And I'm starting to think, we're going to get like a Shaxx v, had Shaxx v Felwinter, knocking heads off story. Nah, one line. Felwinter shot the ghost and kicked him off the edge. It's quite good. It's perfect. It's perfect. Fuck off. He blasted his ghost. And then Sparta kicked him off a mountain.
Well, there you go. Felwinter, not here to fuck spiders.
No.
Not here to muck around. All right, you can put your earplugs back in now. We're gonna put a fucking line through it. Please don't talk about it any further in chat. We don't want to fuck up anyone's experience going forward. But this is some pretty juicy shit. All right. Well, what we might do, we might jump into answering some questions for the chat. So if you have any questions for, I guess, the three of us, or about anything else, or something that you'd like to say, or maybe, how you feel about sunsetting, if you've got, a take that we haven't sort of put forth here, by all means, put it forward. We try to be reasonable, man. We'll try and discuss things on their merit, but beyond that, go for it. interesting thing through the week, and I've deliberately left this till late in the piece to bring it up. Modern Warfare now requires you, if you want to play with a free account, to register a mobile number. Holy shit, can we get that with Destiny, please and thank you very much.
Please.
This is one of those times when I'm like, fuck, part of me wishes that we were still tied in with Activision because it almost certainly would have been a thing.
I love how on the surface that seems like such a simple solution, but how effective it is.
Yeah, it's a good one. And it's one of those things, like, we've had some pretty fucking extensive conversations about this, and it was not something that we ever even thought to consider, right?
But what it would mean is you couldn't have alt accounts, right? You couldn't make a free to play account to like get rid of it, you know.
My understanding of it was that you could register your account and play if you bought the game, but you needed to be able to have to play it free to play. You needed to register your mobile number.
Right.
That was my understanding of it. That may be incorrect, but I don't know.
No, that's it.
I think
it seems like a good idea.
I mean, I hope all the outlets are prepared to fucking be flying through $2 SIM cards.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy some stock in some SIM card
manufacturer.
Yeah,
but dude, as the world,
the thing is, SIM cards aren't
forward,
expensive, but it's just a pain in the ass.
It's a fucking inconvenience. Yeah.
And also, there's a whole registration process. You have to put a whole bunch of details in Australia anyway. I don't know what different places in the world. I heard that China's actually quite difficult with registering SIM cards as well. So it depends what country you're in with how you register them. I mean, there's no real. I don't think there's any real checking here in Australia. Like, you do have to put your address and you do have to put details in. And I don't know what happens if you've got double ups, but I think it's probably fine. Can't put credit card details in.
Here you would have to go to a shop and be like, please change this for me. Because you have to like have it linked to your account. And
so you can't
buy a SIM card?
You can go buy a SIM card, but you have to change your number afterwards.
Yeah, but people would just be using it to register an account, really.
Yeah.
Well, like my phone doesn't even have a SIM card. Like, at all. There's no, where it does not exist. One of the newer Samsungs, there is no SIM card in this phone. So it's like, okay.
Well, I guess if that's the way that the fucking world's going to move, then SIM cards are going to be left behind. Then this is a pretty future-proof technology.
It's like buried.
So it's just become one with the phone at this point. You can't take it in or put it out or whatever. Or
it is full phone inception. You can't even remove it.
All right, let's jump in.
I don't know.
Creeges Man says, I'm curious what will happen with Menagerie with sunsetting. Will we be able to get new weapons and armor through it, or will this be a way for Bungie to potentially reissue weapons at some point? I think it'll absolutely be an opportunity for Bungie to reissue weapons at some point. I imagine if you go and jump in and run the Menagerie as it is now, you'll get weapons that are just simply capped at a period of time, that are capped at that, that time period that applies to them now. If you've got them in your vault now, whether you go and find them 6 months down the line, they will still be capped. So I think that, there is a bit of fleshing out to do with respect to how the reissue of weapons will work. They've already alluded to the fact that they want to do it, but I actually see that as a positive. I think it gives an opportunity for weapons to have their time in the sun without the whole loot pool stepping on their head. Boys, what do you reckon?
I got distracted in my own mind because I was like, damn, I really missed out Menagerie. I sort of tuned out that season because I was just reading lore. I mean, I didn't even know, how do you get into the Menagerie?
I'll show you later, all right?
You click
Menagerie stream tonight.
You click a button.
That's the one season I've done more of the content in that season than I have in any other season because I wanted the Shadow title. And I dragged everyone through the flawless raids and all that crap. Polar says, I'm not fussed about sunsetting, but I'm annoyed that I have to regrind my Masterwork Gambit armor, which is horrid and expensive and not fun and not something you want to do. I totally respect that. And that's exactly what we're, I think, concerned about. I think the difference between a weapon and your armor in Destiny is that, like, 99% of the time, your outward appearance is your thing, right? Like, that is who you are in Destiny, and that's your armor. So part of me doesn't like the idea of having to move on at all. Part of me is fine with it because it's going to be made okay by transmog. But with things like that are like, Polar is Gambit personified. And to have to do that in a capacity where it's really not going to be easy, and it's gonna take a fucking shitload of work, man. I totally sympathize there.
I hope they go back on the armor stuff. To be honest.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's the easiest fix, and I think like trying the water with a weapon pool solely on their own is fine. I think transmog is going to be a big deal, but unless that system is fleshed out and everyone understands what they're actually required, then I think it could be pretty problematic too. So I would like to see them release this in steps. Yeah, like not guess what, now everything gets sunset all at once. I'd rather see them try it with weapons, and if that pans out, then
I almost prefer them to put more effort on the weapons as a first thing, and just see how the landscape changes with it. To be honest.
Yeah. And I mean, like, because you inherently build sets of armor, right? You invest into them to get out of them what you want. Weapons, you don't really do that. You get them, they drop, they've got a roll, or you're really infusing into them as light, or power level or whatever. You don't change your weapon in any way, bar one mod. So I think it's fair that people are pissed about the armor being sunset. All right, what else have we got here?
Everyone is very upset. It's fine.
Everyone is very upset.
It is fine.
Chicken Little, the sky is falling.
It's fine. It's gonna be fine.
Megaton's got a hurt soul. Stop typing it for a sec, everyone. God, it's making it very difficult for me to scroll up.
It's like, oh, you've got a new message. Let me scroll down.
Let me scroll down.
No,
I'm busy. I'm in the middle of something. Jugs says that item retirement is a good thing. The end. I am inclined to believe. I think that because armor isn't specifically retired, I don't know. It's the fucking thing. That's it. Surface of God comes through. Surface of Good bloke. The amount of golf balls that will ultimately be wasted.
Do you know who Surface of God is in chat? That's not the real one.
Is that oh wow, he's got imposters.
Gassy tried to make a meme, changed his name, went to change it back, got hit with you need to wait 2 months before you change your name back.
Oh, Gassy.
Got it.
Oh, that's
You
sad,
idiot.
man. That's a fucking bad time. Well, I guess you are Surface of God now. There's two of you. Maybe that was who I saw in the chat earlier. Maybe the proper one was never here at all.
It was all a ruse.
Yeah, we've dedicated more time to this bloke than anyone else, and he didn't even turn up. That's fine. Wow. Oh, okay. So does anyone think Bungie will revert this if there's enough negative feedback, or do we think it's too late to turn back before next season? Rishmo, good question. I think Bungie have proved that they're willing to act on things probably quicker than they have in the past, but ultimately I think things like this will depend on the systemic work that they've done and whether or not they think it's comprehensive enough for us to be able to quickly adapt to a new system, right? Like, so if armor being sunset is going to be sort of counteracted by transmogrification, so you can look exactly the way you want, and the item economy being, generous enough that you can infuse things the way that you want, I think that they'll let it happen, whether we scream at them or not. If that hasn't been fleshed out and they start to realize that maybe, the negative impacts that people are pointing out are going to come to fruition, whether or not they do anything, I think that, there's a chance that they may revisit this. But it seems like this is the course we're on. And unless something goes really wrong, we're probably not going to move. But I don't know anything. I'm just speculating. That was the other thing that was in the TWAB that we didn't really touch on was that there will be a new engram, the redacted engrams coming that you can actually go into through the season pass and modify to change what drops from them and the stat roll of armor that drops from them. So a kind of way of targeting what you actually want. out of the game. I'm not going to go in and read through all of it. Robbie Stevens does an incredible job in the top, so please jump in and have a read through that. But more or less, this is, I guess, in some sense, a mitigation of us being completely. I think Matt's just gone to take a shit. He's just got up. He's just got up and left. I like the idea of this. I like the idea of being able to hone what it is you are chasing. I mean, ultimately, that's something we've seen before in the Menagerie, and I think most people, if you ask them, will say that the Menagerie has probably been the high point or season of what fucking season was that, Rick? Jesus.
Opulence.
Season of impotence. I think it's probably been the most universally well-received season over previous times. So I would like to, I'd really like to get to understand more about this and how often we're going to be able to do these things and what we're actually required to do to get them to drop and how closely we can modify what we're getting out of them. Because ultimately, I think a lot of what Destiny suffers from and a lot of the reason people are so shit scared of losing their guns is because there's so much that's random. So if you can take some of that randomness out, hell yeah. Matt, what did you do?
Well,
I had to go to the toilet.
This is fine. I told
This
you
is
it'd be
fine. Call of nature. Call of nature.
No.
No, none of the audio listeners would have known, but there you go. Thanks for bringing attention to it.
Oh, no. I mean, the second Matt's just run away. He's gone. He's just got up and left. He really hates the idea of redacted engrams.
Redacted.
Redact.
Polar said something in the chat that it's kind of an underlying sentiment with a lot of people in the community. She goes, I don't want to grind. I just want to play the game. And a lot of people, this is why they're upset is, you get caught up in doing bounties, you get caught up in doing this objective for a quest, or you get what have you, whatever's going on, an activity, and you get steered in a way to where it's like you're doing things you would. I would rather play comp all the time. I have fun in comp. I don't play forges. I did it to do this event because I wanted a super machine gun that made the shield go around me. But it's kind of like we're always chasing a carrot. And a lot of people, they're losing all this gear that they've earned over all this time doing things they really don't like doing so they could have fun in the activities they like to do. And you're just going to take that away. And that's why people get upset. I mean, I understand the sentiment. I get it.
I think that's fair. And I think that, there's going to need to be, honestly, if we get weapons taken out and then to get them back, we have to go back and do exactly the same shit that we did and just grind it all out again, that will be universally poorly received. Unless there is a mechanic of you can get your old gun back now and infuse it up to the higher light level because that weapon's now like pinnacle infusion capacity. I think that would mitigate some of this. So really, they're only just varying it by season. You're going to get your gold rolls back at some point. I think if we get ourselves into a position where you need to grind to get something back that you've already had, it's going to be super bad. It's going to be really poorly received.
Yeah.
So I hope they're thinking that out.
The thing to look out for is cool weapons, cool rolls. If they're going to retire the old stuff, it needs to be replaced with really cool new stuff. And if they don't hit that right, I think there'll be, more angry people, more angry gamers.
Yeah, and look, the other thing with Destiny at the moment is we're super in the lull, right? This part of the year historically has always been fucking rough. So if you're fucking not feeling real great about Destiny at the moment, and you're hearing a lot of news that isn't particularly positive about the way you're viewing the game, you don't have to play it. I understand that a lot of your a lot of us have friendships that are tied up in this, right? Like, this is how you see your mates, and that's important. But by the same token, jump in the Discord and just do something else. You don't need to hurt yourself over this. It's fucking fine. It'll all be okay. Just give yourself a minute.
I've been live streaming my Mountain Blade Conquest in Discord.
Matt, you got to get back to streaming that, streaming it. Because there's just something that's really dumb funny about watching Matt fight these monged up looking barbarians and shit. That game is fucking weird, and I've never seen anyone play it but you, and I don't want to see anyone play it but you. But it works when you play it. I'm not going to play it ever. Yeah.
No, sir, we
Yeah.
don't want to fight you. Surrender or die.
Have at 'em, boys.
That's the boy.
It's just the logical evolution of, you know, the weirdness that has become fucking you streaming. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing.
It's a battle.
To battle! All right. Well, what we might do, we might wrap up this here episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. Huge thanks to Rick for coming by and staying up a little bit late to hang and join in. He was initially scheduled last week to come on. It was very, very fortunate that he could make it this week as well. So, dude, thank you for coming on. Where can people find you? We need to be better at like the professional side of this. Where can you like list all of your links?
Yes, by shamelessly plugging my own podcasts.
Oh, dude, fuck, we haven't. Have you been on here since?
I completely forgot about that too until this moment, because this is how I get out of this. If you go to destinyunfiltered.com, it has all of my links. Boom.
Beautiful. I mean, obviously we're going to have to crush you now because you're our competition, but still.
Not really. No.
No.
We're completely different.
I think
we're like
we all
the
just do
opposite
what we
of
do.
this.
I don't know that we can. Never mind. I'm not gonna complete that train of thought. It was unwholesome as fuck. Maddie, what do you got planned for the coming week, my dude? What are you gonna do? Hey?
After this, I've actually written the law script for Felwinter, but I've got to voice it, and then I've got to send it off for editing, and that will come back. I've got a Audible sponsorship linked in with it for Sunday night release, which is fantastic. And then the week after, I've got a sponsorship with Displate to sell some of Gamma Trap's artwork. Go on Fitty. If you want some artwork, this is the place to get it.
Is there going to be a fat discount code?
Look, I don't know if I'm meant to say this. Fuck, can I say this? Anyway.
Yeah, no, because I'm asking just as a bloke who's recently fucking flooded his own house and is a bit skint at the moment. I want Gamma's art. I don't want to pay a lot for it. Am I going to be able to...
Actually, no, hold on. I don't know if it would be... No, I'm thinking of you. Maybe not discount for you, but the revenue split, if you just buy it off the website versus buying it with the link I give you, Gamma Trap and I get 4 times the amount of revenue split.
Okay, so you'll give me back that money because you're my friend.
No.
Yes.
Anyway, use the fucking link.
I'm gonna use the other fucking link. Fuck
no
you,
discount for you.
Everyone just goes there and just Googles the artwork rather than fucking using the link, just out of spite.
Not giving a fucking toxic streamer any more of my money. Hey, Shades Lounge came in and gifted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subs. Thank you very much. Right as we wrap up. So Azarius, Cyborgs, Ads4, Haggy, and Crit Buff. Congrats on the subs. Normally we don't read that sort of shit out, but we're right at the end anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter. Thanks to everyone who hung out. Thanks if you're listening to this garbage on audio platform or watching it on YouTube. We are sorry we missed last week. We are here absolutely going forward, and we ain't going anywhere. And beyond that, just rock and roll. Keep on rocking in the free world. Rick, I'm glad you're armed to the teeth over there, and I trust that you will thrive under the current madness, because let's be honest, you are basically our personification of chaos. Maddie, where can the law find people this week? What's happening with the law this week?
Let me take you away. You're paddling. It's perfectly blue ocean. The swell's picking up.
Hang on.
You paddle.
I have a mild erection. Is that part of the story?
Just now, I've been.
The sun's beating down. There's a rainbow dolphin right next to you. Right? Here comes a wave. You fucking pop up. You start riding the wave. You're in the fucking wave. It's going through, and then the barrel comes over, and you see just at the very end a glowing law book, and you think, "Fuck, God, I'm Service of God 96." The law will find you at the end of a mystical barrel with a rainbow dolphin.
Fair enough.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.